enough that the federal government wants to take your money. Take your hard-earned money, which the Founding Fathers never intended Congress to have the right to do. But it's not enough they want to take large portions of your money, but they want to make sure they've taken enough. So you have to go through the process. You've got to go through and check, make sure every dime you've ever received has been accounted for. And if they deem you haven't paid enough, they're going to take more. And if you haven't, they'll come and get you. That's tyranny. And we'll abolish that once we get more Constitution Party members into the Congress of the United States. It's time to fight for liberty once again. Now people, I can already hear the objections. Kevin, I'd like to vote for you, but you know what? You just don't have a chance. You know, you seem like a nice guy, you seem like you've got your values right, but you know, you don't have the money the other candidates do. You don't have the name recognition. You don't have the backing of a major political player. Where are the crowds that follow after you? Well, when we look behind us and we see the bravery of these men who abide in what we now call the 5th District, these men never took such considerations to mind. As they stood for freedom, and they made their valiant defense of liberty, they were outnumbered, outmanned, outgunned. They didn't have the training of the British Army, the strongest military power in the world at that time. Yet they had a passion and a desire and a mission, and they wouldn't give up till it was accomplished. I stand here today in that same spirit. I know the polls may be against us, but you know, isn't that what we hate about politicians? They're going to look at the poll and then make their decisions accordingly. They're going to stick their finger in the air and figure out which way the wind is blowing and vote that course, that direction. This is a time for leadership. Leadership, a real leader looks at the polls and says, you know, I am so confident in my direction, confident in my convictions and my belief, that I'll look at those same polls and say, you know what, my mission now is to change those polls. My mission now is to go out and change the hearts and minds of the people out there and get them to turn into the right direction. Get them to turn to real leadership. And that's what we're going to do. I challenge you to watch this campaign, because we're going to be changing minds. We're going to be grabbing people's attention and bringing to them thoughts perhaps they haven't really considered before. We're going to look them in the eye and convince them we are right. We're going to convince them the Constitution is not an irrelevant document. We're going to convince them of the right to life to every human being. We'll convince them of traditional values. We'll convince them that the principles we hold dear are worth fighting for. And we're going to do just that. I ask you to join me. I ask you to join this effort. Some people have just conceded the state to the liberal masses. Time and time again I've heard it said, Massachusetts is just too liberal to elect anybody that's really conservative. Massachusetts is just too far gone to the left to even bother. It's been said that history is made by those who show up. I'm showing up. And those who have already conceded the state, they can stay in the shadows. But I'm here in the arena. I'm joining the fight. Because history is not going to be made by those who are content with complaining. Those who are content with griping. History is made by those who want to actually do something. Those who want to stand up and be counted for. The fight is on. The fight is here, the fight is now. The time has passed for a passive resistance. It's time to really take stock of what we actually believe. Just a couple of weeks ago, I was meeting with a few people. We were talking about this issue of abortion. And we contemplated if this is really murder, as most of us in the pro-life camp would suggest. But if we really believed that was murder, how would that affect our actions? We'd have a renewed sense of urgency. The issues we're talking about are important. They're crucial to our direction, to our survival as a nation. One day we will be held accountable. Not by a judge, not by a professor, but someday, in the face of a young grandchild, a grandson, a granddaughter, we'll be asked, what did we do at this time? We can tell them of the brave fight, the eventual victory, or we can cower in shame and tell them we did nothing. Oh, we kept our beliefs in check and we believed the right thing, but we just weren't fighting for it as we should have been. The time to fight is now. It's going to cost us something. It'll cost us some money. It'll cost sacrifice. It'll cost time. It'll cost effort. But liberty is worth the fight. I'm reminded of the famous quotation from Patrick Henry. As he stood there in Virginia as the House was debating whether or not to take up arms against the British Crown. Patrick Henry stood up to be heard from. He simply said, "The battle, sir, is not to the strong alone, it is to the vigilant, the active, the brave. Besides, sir, we have no election. If we were base enough to desire it, it is now too late to retire from the contest. There is no retreat but in submission and slavery. Our chains are forged. Their clanking may be heard in the plains of Boston. The war is inevitable, and let it come. I repeat, sir, let it come. It is in vain to extenuate the matter. Gentlemen may cry, peace, peace, but there is no peace. The war is actually begun. The next gale that sweeps from the north will bring to our ears the clashing, resounding arms. Our brethren are already in the field. Why stand we here idle? What is it that gentlemen wish? What would they have? Is life so dear or peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God. I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death. I'm running for the U.S. House of Representatives to help restore the same liberty that Patrick Henry fought for. Liberty is worth the fight. I ask you to join me. Thank you.